Hey, and welcome to the 5 Day Mind Detox with me, Joanna Hunter of joannahunter.com and minerpeace.co.uk. So, we are on day 2, and today's quote is: If you had a friend that spoke out loud to you the way you speak to yourself in your own mind, how long would you be friends? It's quite a question, right? When I first heard this, I was really shocked and horrified with this idea that I wouldn't actually be my own friend. And because really trash talked myself in my own mind. And then I had this realization that if somebody followed me around all day and kind of just said out loud the absolute crap that I was saying to myself in my head, I wouldn't put up with that for 5 minutes. I'd be like, don't let the door hit you. But I did it to myself all the time. And then I realized I wouldn't be my own friend. I was a great friend to everybody else, but I was a horrible friend to myself. And this began this kind of journey of developing what I call a tender inner voice. So, a tender inner voice is allowing yourself to speak nicely to yourself in your own mind. And if you think about it, it's really good to do that and to develop that, because if you had a horrible person, or if you had a person that was horrible to you all the time, probably wouldn't want to work so hard for them. You probably wouldn't want to do really anything for them. And this is also true when it's you, when it's you that's doing this. And so you don't want to work so hard for yourself when you're horrible to yourself. You don't want to maybe stay the distance, or you don't want to maybe put in the extra mile for yourself, especially if everything that you do is never good enough, because in your own mind you are constantly critiquing yourself. So today's exercise that I have for you is a downloadable PDF, which is just a simple sheet again. And again, the whole idea about this mind detox is about keeping everything really, really simple, because life is really simple. We just make it super, super complicated with all this BS and all this stuff and all our conditioning and all our learned behavior and all of these things that make life more complex than it really needs to be. And we need to just dial it all back and to make it a lot more simpler. So the first thing that I want you to do is that when you're criticizing yourself all the time, have you ever stopped and just asked yourself these 2 questions? So these are the 2 questions that are on today's sheet. What characteristics do you like about yourself? Is there any characteristics that you like about yourself? If you're downing yourself all the time, you're calling yourself a silly cow, or you're really, really harsh and really, really hard on yourself, is there any characteristics that you actually like about yourself? So write them down. And then what I want you to think about is, I want you to think about characteristics that you admire in other people. What kind of things do you admire in other people? Are they generous? Is that what you admire? Do you admire that they're kind? Do you admire that they always have a listening ear? Do you admire just maybe things that they do for other people? What is it that you admire in other people? And I want you just to think very clinically about this and just make a really big long list of all of the traits that you admire in another person. And when we focus on the negative in ourselves, after a while what happens is that's all we can see. And what suffers is our self-esteem and our self-confidence really begin to suffer as a result. However, the good news is that the same thing happens if you begin to focus on what you do like about yourself. So that's the first question. What characteristics do you like about yourself? The second question is all about giving yourself a direction in which you can choose or make better choices in how you behave. So, for instance, if you've got a bunch of characteristics on the second question on the list that you've made from the second question, so maybe it's kindness and generosity, compassion, maybe the characteristics that you admire in other people is that they love to have a laugh and they're fun and these things. Well, once you have that list, you are responsible for you. No one else on this planet is responsible for you. You are responsible for you. And you can change your behavior to align with those positive behaviors that you admire in other people. And here's the really cool thing. When you begin to align with characteristics that you admire in others, you become more lovable to yourself, which boosts your confidence, boosts your self-esteem, and boosts your self-worth. So it's really very simple. It's just that you're possibly, if you're really down on yourself in your own head, it's possibly because you've never stopped to ask yourself these two questions. What characteristics do you like about yourself? And what characteristics do you admire in others? And how could you align to be more like those characteristics that you admire in others? That's it. It's really, really that simple. And as you align more to that, you become more lovable to yourself. Self-confidence comes up, self-esteem comes up, and self-worth all rises. And so that's today's exercise. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video, and please pop me a little comment on Facebook or send me an email as well. I love hearing from you guys, and a bunch of you yesterday sent me some comments and it really made my day. So please do write back to me. I'd love to hear from you. So Get Selfish, the Way is Through, which is my book, is available from Amazon if you want to order it. And you've really enjoyed these first 2 days of the detox. Have an awesome day, and I will speak to you again tomorrow. Speak to you soon. Bye.